All right, I just want to go over this spreadsheet here, looking at some costs, figuring out our total cost, average fixed cost, average variable cost, average total cost, and marginal cost. And we'll do these other three columns next week. So this is the file you got to send me. Follow along with the formula. It's not that hard. So here we're selling outputs of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of something. I think in the book they talk about lumber units, but again, we want to see basically what should be our optimum output for this company. So we got our total fixed costs against the same, it doesn't change with the level of output. And then we have the variable cost, which will, of course, change with the level of output, generally for materials you have to pay for. So total cost, I'm going up here in D3. And again, you gotta have formulas here. Put my equal sign. So what's my total cost if I'm producing nothing? Basically, it outputs 0. It's going to be my fixed cost plus my total variable cost, right? B3 plus C3. Enter that in, fine, that should be 200. And then I'm going to throw this all the way down. I'll go to the corner handler, it's called there. You get the autofill symbol, and then just double click, right? 2 clicks, it'll go down, finds this blank cell and sees that it doesn't need to copy down any farther. So here's my cost for whatever my level of output is. So we just want to break this down into average fixed cost, average variable cost, average total cost, and figure out my marginal costs. Because we need this to figure out, again, what our profit maximization output should be. So my average fixed cost here, I don't want to start this in 3 because notice if I take 200 divided by 0, I'll get that famous NA. It's basically, it's a mathematical impossibility, divide something by nothing. So I'm going to start here in E4. So at output 1, what is my average fixed cost? So if you again look at the textbook, it's just the fixed cost divided by the level of output. So I'm going to take this 200, the fixed cost at output 1, divided by this number 1, right? A4. So B4 divided by A4. I enter that in. Yeah, that better be a 200. I'm just going to autofill this down. And there you can see my average fixed costs go down over time. And again, it never hurts when you copy a formula down. You're not used to Excel. Go to one of the formulas down here. I'm going on this 40. I'm double clicking on it and just see, yeah, it's taking this 200 divided by 5. Escape will get you out of a cell if you double click on it. And then, yeah, that should be 40, right? 200 divided by 5 better be 40. So my average variable cost here, again, this is just going to be my same sort of thing, my total variable cost here in C4, which is at output 1, divided by that same output of 1, right? C4 divided by A4. I'm going to enter that in, 280, of course that makes sense, and I'm just going to double click to throw it down. And great, I'm just going to check again. If I double click here on this output 5, yeah, it takes that 1,100, which is the total variable cost, divided by the level of output 5. That is correct. Hit my escape key to get out of there. My average total costs now is the same sort of thing. I'm just going to equal. I'm going to take this 480 because, again, the total cost is just adding up the fixed and the variable, divided by the same output 1. Of course, that comes out 480, and I throw it down. And great, there I can see my average total costs. And then now the last cost we want to do is the marginal cost. And again, there will be a question on this on the midterm, a multiple choice question. I'm going to give you a table like this and ask you to figure out the marginal cost between 2 levels of output. But here, I just want to find the marginal cost. How much did my cost go up between 0 output, producing nothing, and producing 1? So I'm just going to do my equal sign again. And again, here I'm looking at my total cost, right? So I just want the difference between, again, the total cost for making nothing is 200. The total cost for making one unit of output is 480. What's the difference between these two? And you can see it's 180. So I'm just going to do the formula, the 480 D4 minus the 200, right? And there's my marginal cost, right? How much cost went up between 0 and 1? And of course it went up that 280. I cannot do math in my head anymore. It's a problem. And I'm just going to autofill this down. Okay, great. And I'm just going to take a quick look again at our output 5. That should be taking this 1300, right, minus the 1080, right? So this is the kind of question I'm going to ask you in the midterm, right? I'm going to give you some kind of table like this, and I'll say between output, what's the marginal cost going from 4 output to 5 output, and you basically have to find the difference between these two numbers. So this is what I want you to create. You can send this to me, but I'm just going to do one more thing. I'm going to do a quick graph because I like to do graphs. You can try to follow along. I know that Apple and the versions of Excel, it can be different here, but I'm just going to do a quick graph. I want to graph my average variable costs, my average total cost, and my marginal costs. Because remember, the marginal cost should intersect the average variable cost and the average total cost at their minimum value. So I'm clicking up here in F2, and then I'm holding my control key down, right, or your command key if you're using a Mac, highlighting these. One, we'll just select them, let go. I'm going to click once on ATC and then click again, highlight the numbers. Look, I got to skip this area here. That's why it's a little tricky. Click on MC and then click and drag down here. And then don't expect this to work the first time. It can be a pain, but I'll do this in class on Monday if you want to see it. And I want to do a line graph, this first line graph, and boom, there's my nice chart. I'm going to move it over. I'm going to shrink it up a little bit so we can get a better handle on it. And then, yeah, the green line's my marginal cost line, right? And again, it intersects the average variable cost and the average total cost at their minimum point, the way it should happen. Oh, I'm just going to change my line scaling here, right? I want to start, because I got some big gaps here down to the bottom, so I do this all the time. I just double click here on these numbers. And you can't see it because it's off the screen on my right. I'm making my minimum. There's a choice at, what, 150. Should make it look better. Great. There you can see a chart closer to what the textbook has. So, but again, you don't have to do the chart if you don't want to. We'll do it for the next one, where we're going to come back to this basically file and add the revenue part and take a look at our profits next week. So make sure it has formulas here. Again, when I check these homeworks, I click on cells. I open up your file, I click on cells, and I better see the formula I want to see there. That would make sense. All right, email me if you have any questions.